Over 2,800 people have made it into the 2 Comma Club by making at least $1 million in their business. And you get the opportunity to understand exactly how it is that they have done it on an individual by individual basis through this podcast. If you're interested in learning more about the tidbits and advice that they have, then you should consider subscribing to the 2 Comma Club newsletter, where you'll get daily updates and advice on the podcast and the things that we are learning from the individuals who have made at least $1 million. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com or click the link in the description down below and subscribe. Welcome back to the 2 Comma Club podcast. Today, Chris and I are joined by Adam Ivy. And if you guys have ever wanted to learn how to grow on YouTube, this is the man that you need to talk to. Adam is an expert who has history in helping a lot of people be able to make organic content, bring in business. So Adam, if you wouldn't mind kind of giving people a little bit of background as to how it is that you got into the YouTube space, that'd be fantastic.
Sure. Well, I appreciate the opportunity, guys. So I consider myself a builder more than anything, right? I love building people up. I love building systems. I love building funnels. I love building businesses. It's so all the way back to when I was in elementary school and I'm selling granola bars and, making cash. And my mom's like, where are you getting this money from? Well, all those granola bars I took to school. So I stumbled upon YouTube in a very natural way, right? So I discovered YouTube in 2006, 2007. I'm talking early on, OG. People didn't even have cameras on their phones yet, right? So I'm watching these people. And one thing that I always struggled with growing up, people don't get it when you're an entrepreneur and you're crazy. And you're like, I think I could do this. I had a car dealership when I was 18 with a buddy of mine. And, I had an apparel brand a few years ago and like all these different things. And people look at you like, you need to go find a good job. You need to go get a degree. You need to go do this and that. And when I didn't have the support or the understanding in my personal life, I turned to YouTube as my guide, my mentor, my inspiration. And these are guys that get it, right? So I started YouTube in 2007 or 2008. That channel, I retired because back in the day, you couldn't change the URL of your channel. So my channel was like Adam Ivy official real TV for real. Like it was dumb, right? So in 2010, I launched my current channel. It took me 8 years of throwing stuff up against the wall, seeing what would stick, trying to make content for everybody else before I realized if I just focus on this for a year and do it for me, it'll feel better. I won't get burnt out. And that's when my channel took off. That first 8 years, I did get up to 50,000 subscribers. I did everything from music creation videos as a music producer. I did music parodies like Weird Al. I did vlogs like Casey Neistat. I did current event videos for a short run like Philip DeFranco or any of these other guys. And these were guys that I looked up to and inspired me. So I was like, if they could do it, let me give it a shot. And that led to a lot of ups and downs, a lot of big gaps of like, I'm not doing this anymore. I quit, whatever. And then in 2016, 2017, I started making videos for musicians. I had been a full-time music producer. I produced for Subway and Discovery Networks and a few artists that some people have known like G-Eazy and Mod Sun and a lot of other people in the independent circuit. But it wasn't bringing me fulfillment anymore. So the crazy thing about it is I was already looking for what's next. And then I went legally deaf in my left ear. I had a sinus infection that led to an ear infection and a ruptured eardrum. And it's like trying to be an athlete missing a limb. And I'm not talking about like the Paralympics, right? Shout out to those people. But let's say you're Tom Brady and then you lose your left hand. Well, you could still throw with your right, but it's not the same. And that's how it was with my music. I got depressed. I'm like, what the heck am I going to do? So out of kind of being desperate and petty, I was like, well, if I can't do it, I'm just going to share everything that I'm doing and then they can fight for the scraps. It was a very immature, petty way of doing it, but I'm just like, I'm going to teach everything I know and then off to the next thing. I already had a day job as marketing director for a tech company. I was making comfortable 6 figures and like, I didn't need the music money anymore. That was one reason I thought about stepping away from it. And so I started teaching funnels and systems and tactics and even perspective on how to build a successful music career, because it's the same exact thing as any business, right? You need visibility, you need connections, and you need offers, or attract, retain, convert. That's kind of the framework I look at it. And so I was a nerd with spreadsheets on who I reached out to on Instagram and where we were along the process. And I started teaching all that in 2000. 13, just dabbling, because some people were asking me questions. And when I had the hearing loss in 16 into 17, I started just weekly videos. I said, I just met my now wife at the time. We were probably dating for about a year, and we were living together, and I had already been doing the dabbling with these types of videos. And I said, if I post 2 videos a week for a year, it'll be a good test. It's almost like the 75 hard, but for creative, right? So it's like you do 2 videos a week, you post them up. You're not worried about the views. It's crickets at first because people are like, what are you doing? Who are you to be sharing this stuff? And then by mid 2018, I had so many people asking me, do you have a course? Do you have an ebook? Do you do coaching? Where I stumbled upon Russell Brunson stuff. I stumbled upon Jeff Walker's stuff, did the product launch formula in combination with funnels. And I launched an online course in November of 2018 that did 58,000 cash collected. Then the next one did 110. Then the next one did 180. Then the next one did 210, all organic. So I was ironing it out, figuring out why people weren't converting, figuring out why my messaging wasn't working, figuring out why my funnel wasn't getting, because I would have 4,000 or 5,000 people on early bird waiting lists before I launched. And then slowly I would cap the enrollment at 300 people, just because like my team and I, mostly me at first, it was really, really hard to make people feel like they weren't just a number if you made it more people than that. And all of a sudden, all these people are asking me like, how are you doing all this? What kind of ads are you running? What does your value ladder look like? I'm like, what's a value ladder? Like I hadn't got to that part in Expert Secrets yet. I was like, what's a value ladder? I had one $697 course that then bumped to $997. Then somebody was like, dude, you need to do high ticket. I'm like, I don't know what that is. And they're like, the people that are in your course want more of you, and you would really be able to deep dive into what they're doing and get them further faster by dissecting what they're doing and giving them more individualized support. So I launched a $2,000 high ticket. I had 0 people say no to it for like the first 3 months. And so one of my early on mentors, coaches, friends were like, dude, you got to bump your price. And I'm like, well, maybe he's like, do it today. So I bumped it to 3,000, and I still had 80 to 90% of people saying, yeah, I mean, after the discovery call, the qualified prospects. And I was turning people down because when I got on a call with them, I'm like, yeah, hey, you are really ambitious, but you are not ready for this. Like, you don't need to spend any money with me. Go watch my YouTube stuff, go the self-paced course, whatever it looked like. And then same thing happened. I was like, too many people. I couldn't handle it. And somebody else was like, bump your price again. So I bumped it to 5K. And for 2 years, we had an 83% close rate on the sales calls because organic leads to way easier relationship building, way easier trust. If I'm sending people to my thing from an ad because I'm like a clever, slick talking guy that meets them where they need to be met in that day, it's we tried ads. Like in the lifetime of this business, I've run less than 30,000 in ads, just because I love when people kind of know who I am already, because now we're talking to like an acquaintance or a friend rather than, why should I give you money? You're just one of those Ty Lopez scammers, or, like we've all heard it. And I just want to be able to build that relationship and warm people up and give them so much free value, kind of the Hormozy, Russell Brunson method of, hey, use all this stuff for free, because I know that the beginners are going to get capped out. And we know I cannot give intermediate or advanced advice broadly. Doesn't work. I've tried it. You give this advanced stuff, the beginners get overwhelmed. The people that are already there need, well, what about this? Like, what you said this, like, how does that apply to me? So the high ticket made sense to jump into. And I feel good about helping beginners for free. And then as soon as they use what I teach to get to the intermediate point, it should be a no-brainer to, invest in themselves and take it to the next level, and then take it to the next level. I mean, I've had musician clients that work with me for 2 years, and I'm like, dude, you don't need me anymore. They're like, good things happen when we get on calls. Good things happen with you in my world. So, we just over the last couple of years, I became a father about 17 months ago. Our little girl's running around. She was in here like 5 minutes before we, thank you so much. And that changed my life. I'm almost 40. I'm 39. I don't look at myself as a musician as I did when I started this. I'm a business builder. I have a tech company that sells laser engraving systems that people don't know about called Unified Laser. And so it's like, I like building stuff, and musicians will always be in my heart, but I made the decision about a year ago to transition to helping my new compadres, entrepreneurs, people that get it, people that are more usually aligned with my age, millennials. Usually it's like 25 and older. I've always got along with older people, right? I was in martial arts for 12 years. Some of my good friends to this day are in their 40s and 50s because I met them as a kid when they were, freshly graduated from high school or college. And so working with entrepreneurs that have already eaten their fair share of mud and crawled through the tough times, we all have battle scars. And so we relate. And I've invested in bad, stupid, immature, investments before. I've had bad mentors. I've had wonderful mentors. I've had courses that I signed up for that I'm like, I know more than this person. Why did I sign up for that? But over the years, entrepreneurs understand that when we're climbing the ladder, it's not to find the top of the ladder, it's to get a better view. You have to keep climbing. So my people who want to build a personal brand, who want to drive that organic traffic through YouTube, it's just been so much fun really diving into the new opportunity, my new business, Attention at Scale. Look forward to getting a two Comma Club X award for it in the next year or two, just because when entrepreneurs see growth and entrepreneurs see an increase in attention and scale and revenue, it's a no-brainer. Some people are trying to get 1 million subscribers. I'm like, hey, if we work together for 6 months and I get you 5 to 10,000 subscribers and get you 100 new customers, right? Like to a musician, hey, how about 100 streams, 1,000 streams? That's nothing. Like 100,000 streams is like $400, right? It's like nothing. So, but 400 customers, 40 customers, for some people, 4 new customers organically without having to pay for all these ads is life-changing when you get those systems in place. So that's really where I'm deep diving now, and just having a blast doing it, trying to make this room a little sexier, less music related. I'm selling this good old desk here on Marketplace as we speak, and just trying to make it all about the video and the content and the confidence on camera. Like I have the 5 C's. It's having clarity, it's having the contents, understanding your clients, it's the conversions, and then confidence, right? So, that's where I'm at. But I've been talking your face off for like 10 minutes now, so I apologize for that.
Well, I love it. I love Adam. I love your enthusiasm. I love to hear your backstory to really let our listeners know who you are. One thing that really triggers, and I see this a lot of folks who are entrepreneurs. I know you kind of see your story a little bit. If you could dive into a little bit more, like, so you talk about this W-2 position. You have this marketing company, and obviously you had some adversity with the hearing loss, and I understand how setbacks or resistance can pop in. Just love to hear how you transition from like a W-2 where you're still at, but you have your company, then basically kind of giving it all away and just going head first into the entrepreneur world. I think it's where a lot of people get stuck. They get stuck in the mud there. So if you can kind of dive in what your experience was with that and kind of what your feelings were as you was going through, that'd be great to hear about that.
Sure. I'll give you a roller coaster here. So YouTube, in every sense of the phrase, has changed my life. I started making beat making videos as a early 20-something-year-old producer, beat maker, just trying to get my name out there because there was other producers that had a name that were popular and successful that did that. And I'm like, well, if they're doing it, let me try it. So I had this old little crappy Kodak Easy Share camera that had a video mode on it, but it was like the square video, like old school. And I did 6 of those videos on YouTube, no consistency at all, just like whenever. I was working as a shipping manager when I first moved to Florida. I'm originally from Wisconsin. And I moved to Florida to pursue a music career. So I'm like, I'm going to make this thing work, right? The 7th video I ever uploaded to YouTube was you guys remember Wiz Khalifa, Black and Yellow, like 2010, 2011?
Yeah, for sure.
So I did a parody, Weird Al style, called Red and Yellow, talking about McDonald's. I can't watch it now. It's super cringy, but it went viral. 7th video ever went viral. I had a buddy of mine who I had connected with through YouTube call me. He had a more fancy camera, and he shot the video. And in 6 weeks, it did like 2 million views on my channel and like 1 million views on his. Cause the deal was I couldn't pay him to direct the video, but he could post it on his channel too. So in less than 3 months, it did about 5 million views between my channel and his channel. Like let's say 4 million, 4.5. And out of nowhere, I was getting emails, direct messages, phone calls. They were like somehow hunting down my phone number to, like, I'm talking corporations that wanted me to be their viral video guy. They wanted me to like show up. And in the video, I'm like rapping and I have like an oversized shirt on and a fitted cap, but that's not really who I am in real life. I was a character, right? So I'd show up to these calls and like a button up shirt, sometimes a suit, sometimes like a nice polo, but like I'd show up as the marketing guy. And they were all confused, super confused. And so I did consulting with several smaller businesses, a couple bigger businesses, worked with Clear Channel a little bit, which was kind of cool. The video was featured on ESPN2, and there was a gaming channel called G4 TV back in the day. And they played it on MSNBC going into commercial, which was kind of crazy. And all of a sudden, these people came to me as the idea guy, and I just saw an opportunity. I'm like, I can't tell you what's going to work, but I can come up with fun ideas. And that landed me a media director job at a tech company doing all their social media and all their YouTube videos and stuff. I was just a camera guy that would have fun editing and make sure the audio and everything was solid and thumbnails and stuff. Well, that led to that same company shifting stuff around. And within 2 or 3 years, I was the marketing manager working with another person that we were kind of both team leads. And then that person left and I became the marketing director with the team. And I graduated high school with a 1.8 GPA. So I went to college at DeVry. They ripped me off hardcore. Like first 3 semesters, it was like 12 grand for like 3 gen ed semesters. Horrible. I dropped out. I was going to school to become like an IT manager. Because that was the highest paying thing in the little pamphlet. I'm like, what? Where's the money at? I'll do that. And so YouTube literally shifted me over into an executive level W-2 job where I started as the media director at like 40, 45,000. 2 years later, I'm making 60, 65, then 82, and then bonus structure and all this stuff where, hey, mom, I made it, in this corporate world. And then over time, the owner, who was my direct boss, I was like number 2 on the org chart. He wouldn't let me do my ideas anymore. He's like, that's not how we market here. I'd have like, hey, this thing is this new trend and we should do that. That's not how we do business here. Okay. So at the same time, I was already helping musicians on YouTube, and I launched this course, as I told you guys. And so like the first launch completely organically, I did like $58,000 in 6 days. And so I'm like chilling with this money in my bank account. And there's other people that selected like payment plans. So I have, let's just call it 5 or 10,000 coming in a month on payment plans. And I'm just like, wow, what am I doing this for $8 grand take home after taxes or whatever it was at the day job, maybe a little bit more than that. And when I'm just like chilling at home wearing like t-shirt and shorts. And funny thing about it is I know John and I connect with like Andy Frisella in his world, right? So when I started really diving into YouTube and taking it seriously, it was probably after listening to the MFCEO project. I was just fired up. I would come home from my day job. I'd go to the gym. I'd be hopped up on pre-workout. I'd come home. I would eat dinner with my girlfriend, now my wife, my girlfriend at the time. And then I would say, hey, I'm going to go shoot videos in my office. I'm just going to talk about this today. And I'm not sure if it's Edgar Allan Poe or if it's another guy, but he said, if you never tell a lie in your life, you don't have to remember anything. So that's how I literally was doing marketing. I was literally making money as a music producer, and I would just turn the camera on and talk about one thing. And then the comments on that video would give me an idea for the next video. And the comments on that would give me another idea for another video. So I would just keep going. And then the things were like, oh, nobody actually talks about this. Let me deep dive that. And so watching Andy Frisella or listening to his podcast while I'm working out, watching the YouTube clips when he shifted over into video, I was just fired up. I have been in organized sports my whole life. I was in martial arts for 12 years. My dad was in it with me, and he was an instructor. I was an instructor at a certain point when we became black belts. And I've always resonated with the coaches that are like, you're messing up. This is where you need to change. Go back out and do it again. Do it better this time. Not it's going to be okay. Like, I'm not that guy. So like, that's not how I coach. So on YouTube, it's like most of you guys won't make it. The ones that do will take this next thing seriously. That's the fact. I say it in multiple videos, like, no matter how many views I get, I know that there's less than 10% of you watching this right now that are ever going to do anything with this. So let me talk to you right now. And it's a little jaded, it's a little bitter, but it's my truth, right? So launched that, then started doing high ticket coaching, and walked into this entrepreneur world. I think Gary Vee says, entrepreneurism is like falling out of a plane trying to build another plane. And that's how it feels. You have to go scared. You have to jump into it. And I had an unfair advantage because, I had already done a bunch of businesses. I had a media company before the YouTube stuff, or right around the same time as the YouTube stuff. I started a company called Cheekio Media. Cheekio means absolutely nothing, but I found the domain name cheekio.com. I'm like, it sounds like something, right? It sounds like a brand. So I was building WordPress pages. I was doing SEO. I was doing copywriting. I was doing graphic design. I was doing anything I could figure out. I had like a hacked version of Photoshop PS2 or whatever it was at the time, CS2. And I was just trying to figure it out. And I was doing voiceovers for companies. I was doing voiceover work for my voice is kind of shot now, but it's like, thank you for calling Best Buy of West Orlando. Your call is very important to us. For media, press 1. For Geek Squad, I'm not saying I'm like legit, but like somehow I got these like explainer videos where I think there's still a bed bug trap company that paid me to do it's called Fiber Trap. It's like, are you worried about your Airbnb being infested with bed bugs? Well, we have a solution for that. It's like stupid, right? And so I was just doing everything I could before the music took off. Then the music took off. And after the music took off in 2009 into 2010, I'd lost a different W-2 job. I know this is all over the place, but stumbling upon YouTube opened my eyes to the opportunities that YouTube could bring to me. And all of a sudden, I'd have companies like Behringer sending me, not this, but sending me mics like this to unbox and test out. I'm like, these people are sending me $40 things. This is amazing. Then I started getting a little bit more confidence. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that review, but you got to send me 2 of them. And so I'd sell one on eBay, keep one, or give it away for, if you subscribe and leave a comment, I'm going to give this away. I'm going to pick one of you guys. And then somebody's like, we'll give you $50 and the product to do it. And now I charge $3,000 to $5,000 for unboxing reviews. And I charge, $500 minimum for a 30-second integration. So if you put the math together, that's $60,000 an hour from some guy that just kind of patched it together and figured it out. So, that's how I stumbled upon all this stuff. YouTube, doing a stupid, fun parody, recording vocals in a closet with bath towels pinned to the wall for acoustic treatment. Literally had a yellow. I remember it like it was yesterday. I had 2 yellow rubber backed bath mats. Like when you get out of the shower, you step on. My mom had sent them to me. I had them like thumbtacked to the wall, and then the microphone here and these mats like here, because I was just like a broke guy trying to figure it out. And this video just went viral and really changed my life. I did other parodies, and I thought that was going to be the play for a while. And I didn't want to be the clown. I didn't want to be the guy that's just like making funny music, because I had more to offer than that. But that's how it all kind of stumbled into teaching and helping and getting so excited to see people get it. Like, oh, that's what I'm missing. And it's just like that aha moment is it's like crack, man. You get addicted to it, seeing it in other people. And so here we are, shifting over into attention at scale with my YouTube offer, as well as my capital equipment tech company, that's doing, 7 figures. I mean, last year we were just under $1 million. This year we're going to crack $1 million. And that's organic as well. We do pay for trade show booths. So that's like tens of thousands of dollars, but we don't run any ads. Yeah.
Is that also a YouTube promoted?
I got something else in the works that I'm going to be launching. That's a direct I have a thing called Laserpreneur that I'm rolling out to teach people who own these systems how to scale their business with them. So if you own a laser engraving system, a fiber, a CO2, like the Glowforge stuff, there's a couple other technologies. There's UV. If you do these things, you build a successful Etsy store, you get, on the TikTok shop and do these other things, you can make comfortable, healthy 5-figure into 6-figure, possibly 7-figure with these things. But the thing is, just like if you and I buy a pressure washer, a lot of people own pressure washers. A lot of people own super nice lawnmowers. Few people out of the whole group have successful businesses using the tool. So I want to be the guy who's at the forefront of not only getting the tool into people's hands in a way that's just trustworthy and we have their back. I'm going to launch Laserpreneur, which will be a YouTube, very similar thing where we have a high ticket, we'll have a low ticket, we'll have a mid ticket, and just help people. I'm not sure when this is going live. The Laserpreneur is like in for trademark right now, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to be launching that, and that's going to be mainly YouTube. And we do applications, videos and stuff. And video marketing really does play a huge role in the success of Unified Laser because we do applications videos, and I have all these crazy cameras that get like this close to the part and look like, like it's 12K. And, that gives people a better idea of what's actually happening. And, oh, I didn't even know you could do that. That's the biggest aha that I love seeing. Like, can you do inside outside ring engraving? Because a lot of our clients are jewelers or firearms, tactical guys that do like crazy custom guns. And so they're always like, can you do this? Like, can you do the most generic thing that everybody wants to do? Yeah, but have you thought about this? Oh, you can do that with this? Yes. And then they cut me a check. It's not that easy, but you know what I'm saying. You build the trust, You show them what's possible. It's so that business right now allows me to build an actual legacy business that I don't have to be the face of per se. I love being the face, but like I don't have to be the face of it. I could scale it, I could sell it, do whatever. And then the YouTube stuff allows me to do, whatever I want to. And as far as like personal income, I take a little bit from that, I take a little bit from this, grow the businesses with the rest, and able to provide for my family and do some pretty fun stuff and live a life that nobody from where I grew up usually lives. So
that's awesome. You got a lot of different hats you wear there, and it's really cool. So that makes me really wonder about the marketing side of things in terms of like the content. I know that I can't remember where I heard it recently. I'm totally blanking on it, but the idea was that you need to be able to make things cool and make them interesting, like whatever it is. So like if you have any insights or anything that you could share in terms of the tactics or processes that you go through in order to be able to make any concept like fun to watch and entertaining to engage with, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I don't got anything for you, and I'll see you guys later. I'm just kidding. No, what we usually do is like with the laser business, it's laser engraving. It's cool, but it's like not very sexy. So what we'll try to do is we'll try to do either something that's themed. Let's say that a show is trending, right? Like I know Squid Game a few years ago was trending. And so it's like we really try to lean into doing an application that's like tied in with that kind of goes into the ether of social media. If we can't make it visually like stunning, usually pairing it with high energy music will kind of inject that energy into it. But we just like to have fun. One thing I think is unfair advantage for me is I'm 39 years old, but I am a goofy, silly, like I'm more comedian than I am business owner in my brain, right? So it's like having fun, shocking pattern interrupt type content, whether it's YouTube, like for example, when my channel blew up on YouTube, the strategy I was using was I called it the chaotic open. What I did was in the beginning of the video, let's say I'm talking about Instagram growth or something, right? Just everybody can relate to that. The beginning of the video, literally my first clip, my intro was I'd hype myself up and then I'd say something along the lines of like, I'd pump myself up and I would jump into a rant. So I'd be like, and the issue is that guy who's doing that thing is not growing and I just want to slap him in the face. And then like it would jump to my intro. The reason that worked is because people thought that somewhere in the video, I was going to have this breakdown. So they would wait for it, but I would provide so much calm. I was still energetic, but I would provide so much value that they didn't feel like I was gypping them. So that was the chaotic open into what I call the abrupt close. So let's say that I'm talking about the top 10 things to grow your business using ClickFunnels, right? And number 10 is like email marketing. I would talk about number 9, which might be the funnel design functions and everything, and say, and number 10 is email marketing. If you guys want me to do a video on that, let me know in the comments. And if you want to watch this, go to this video next. It would be, because one thing that people ruin their retention, ruin their session time, is the last thing. They wrap up. They think people care so much about them leaving their house after the Super Bowl party. Did John leave? I don't even know. Like, okay, cool. It's been a long day. Like, a lot of people on their YouTube channel will, and same for social media. People care more about the experience they feel with you rather than you telling them what you do. So many people are like, hey, and I've been guilty of it. It's like, hey, I'm Adam Ivy. I'm a music marketing specialist. I used to do music. I do this now, and this is why you should care. And this is people I've worked with. And like, no, jump it. You've already lost them. So with the closing, and this goes for social media as well, you want to wrap it up quick. So at the end cards on YouTube give you 20 seconds as of right now. So when I'm like a robot now, because I know how, like if I'm on a topic in my head and I know it's coming to a close, and I'll say, and that's why you should care about email marketing. And if you want to watch this video next, I show you how I set up my entire day productivity wise, being a dad, being a husband. And it's something that you could watch too. Click that little subscribe button if you haven't yet to join the channel family here. Let me know in the comments below what you want me to talk about next time. And I appreciate you watching. Like, just wrap it up. And to keep things interesting, I think that I have a framework for social media, but we don't have to go through it all because it'll take like 20 minutes. But the last piece of the puzzle, it was the BRAVE framework. So I'll run through it real quick. B standing for broad spectrum, relative content or relevant content that'll, like Alex Hormozi talking about his Chipotle order, right? It's this broad spectrum. And then R is relationship building. You dive more into the topic, the things that you're passionate about, the things that you can nerd out about with the right people. BRA stands for advertising, but I don't mean it for advertising. I mean it for anything that's promotion based. Your promotions, your offers, when you're shoving a CTA down somebody's throat to sign up for XYZ, you need to keep that to a minimum. V is a varied opinion or perspective on somebody else that already has a viral piece of content. You see that all the time with Edward, and you see that with Gary Vee, and you see that with Russell and Steve Larson, everybody. They're like watching a video and then they'll chime in about it. E stands for everything that you're scared shitless to do. And that's the things that you see somebody do, like, man, I love this guy. He does this thing. He dances in Target all awkward in front of everybody. And it's just like so funny. But I could never do that. But I'd be so embarrassed. I'd be nervous. I don't have the personality for that. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not in shape enough. All those things that are complete BS. E stands for everything that you should try to do. I had a consultation call, coaching call with one of my clients who is out there. Anything I tell him to do, he is for it. So we had this call on the top 5 things, these listicles, right? And I'm not gonna put him on blast here, but I told him literally, and anybody watching this could do this, have a white t-shirt, and instead of like number 1, this on a whiteboard or a dry erase board, put it on your shirt. And then number 2, have your nipples cut out so that when people would be in shock for so long that they would see if there's anything else going on. And for the right brand, for the right personality for this individual, it works. I'm not saying if you're watching this and you're a female, it's a very different world that we live in with just a dude with a hairy chest. I don't have one. This guy does. And so we thought that shock value, especially with his brand, is relatable. It's funny as hell for his audience. It's not going to work for everybody. Might not work for me. So doing things that are shocking, out of the norm, even like John has a red microphone, that's an attention getter. I have some backlights and stuff. That's an attention getter. I try to make my background organized chaos because when people are watching, they might say, what books does he have on that bookshelf there? Let's see if I could see that. Oh, I have that book, or I can tell by the colors that's Atomic Habits or something, Expert Secrets or whatever. And it's all about keeping people interested, and the confidence comes. I have a saying that's your repetition builds your reputation, right? So that's what it is. The more I'm on YouTube, the less awkward I am. The more I'm on YouTube, the more I don't say and ah and look off and not like. It's all about the repetition. So if you want to get in good shape, you got to do it regularly. It's a lifestyle change. If you want to get great on camera, it's a lifestyle change. If you want to be a better husband, better father, better friend, better employer, better leader, it's a lifestyle change. It's not just, oh, I listened to this one podcast and now I'm magically great. It's so with the social media content, I look at social media like vending machine food. If we were all hanging out and we had a long day and John's like, dude, I'm hungry and I know that he's crushing it with his diet. Let's go find some beef jerky from a vending machine, like just to kind of get us through, maybe like a Coke Zero, keep the calories low. But you can't live off that. It kind of bridges the gap between sustenance, right? It's so YouTube, my wife, I don't know about you guys, my wife and I watch YouTube almost every night when we get in bed, like it's Netflix, like it's Hulu, like it's Prime. So more and more people are doing that now. So they are there to give you more attention. They are there to be calm with you, not the hyper crazy ADHD edits that we see on TikTok and Instagram. So that stuff is vending machine food. YouTube is a meal that your mama makes at Thanksgiving. Like it's just, you're not in a rush. If John does a video that's 28 minutes, okay, cool. I'm here for it. Even if it's playing in the background when I'm setting stuff up or whatever, like I when people don't understand the power of YouTube, I tell them, go through TikTok for an hour, shut down TikTok, wait 15 minutes, and give me the name of 5 creators that you watched. You're not going to be able to do it. I'd be shocked if you remembered 5 videos that you watched, because it's just overloading with dopamine. It is essentially the same effect that pornography has on people, but in a way that they don't have to feel as guilty about. And that's where the brain rot, and that's where everybody's talking about, I lack executive function. I got diagnosed with ADHD. Stay off your phone for like a month and you're going to feel like a new person. Get off the caffeine for like a month. You're going to feel like a new person. We have all these vices that keep us high and keep us in what we think is high frequency, when in reality, it's low frequency, just being shaken like a cat in a box, because it's not productive. It's not serving your life at all. Some of the happiest people I've ever met are like factory workers that don't know what TikTok is, because they're just bored and doing what they do day in and day out. And so that's where the best ideas come from. I've had literally the idea for Laserpreneur, literally the idea for a lot of other things that I've done. I had a fitness apparel brand called Just Be from 2016 to 2018. I shut it down in 2019 officially. We did 6 figures somehow. I was in $62,000 worth of credit card debt because I had to order. I didn't want to do print on demand. So I had this little townhouse, floor to ceiling tubs and boxes of clothes. I actually have like 12 grand worth of inventory in my garage still that I'm looking to donate. But I'm not a fitness apparel guy at all. I'm not a fitness influencer, just like you, John. Like I was rocking it, man. Like when I met my wife, I was shredded. I was drinking 2 Monsters a day. I was going to the gym. I was eating like cottage cheese and chicken breast. And I was in very good shape. And I was inspired by people like Christian Guzman, Jim Shark. And I wanted to have my own thing because I had a personal brand, because I understand marketing. I was profitable before I shut it down, finally paid off the credit cards and got over the hill. But what I'm getting at is I was mowing my lawn, listening to a, what the heck is her name? Marie Forleo, I believe, podcast back in the day, or it could have been, what's her name? Porterfield, Amy Porterfield. I was listening to an Amy Porterfield interview, and she was interviewing someone. And at the end of this interview, the person was just on fire. They were like, you just got to be confident. Just be going after, just be yourself. And I was like, just be. And so I came up with this brand called Just Be. And I thought it was going to be fitness apparel for like all shapes and sizes. That doesn't work. Logistically, it does not work unless you have a cajillion dollars for inventory and a ton of SKUs. Learned a lot about e-com through doing that and Shopify. But that idea came mowing my lawn, sweating my butt off in the back of a little rental house, from listening to a podcast, and I took action on it. And so, realistically, when you're on social media, you should be the creator, not the consumer. It's cool to kind of keep in touch with what's going on and support people that are out there crushing it. But if you spend 95% of your time creating and 5% of your time consuming, you will have a thriving life in anything that you do.
No, I agree with that. I think a lot of people have the reverse. They do 95% consuming versus the 5%. Something really hit for me talking about your martial arts background and just how you coach people. I think now you're kind of, like you said, people they're looking for more of you, Adam. They want to give you money. They want to tuck in. You talked about, attention at scale. I think as you're growing now and you've had some success and made money, one of the things we keep seeing, folks, is what's the next? It's a scale or grow. I don't believe in just plowing money back in your business. I think, what about your family? Like you said, You have these businesses where you pay your expenses and you get to live a good life. And we see people. So how are you investing, or what are you looking at towards the future when it comes to investing or capitalizing on some of your businesses and what you've done?
Sure. So you guys are probably going to laugh at me. I am the guy who wants to have his house paid off by 45. And, I want the Lambo. I had a Lambo, sold it when our daughter Lennon was born, because I'm like, she can't ride in it. It's just like sitting there. Insurance is kind of crazy in Florida. So I sold the Huracan I had, sold a couple of the Rolexes, because I don't know about you guys. I don't know you guys' situation, but for me, when I became a father, everything in my perspective changed overnight, just shifted. It was just about, how do I serve my family with memories rather than don't get me wrong. I want to buy an Aventador SVJ and I want to have, 50 acres and a 5,000 square foot house compound, a crazy outdoor gym, my in-laws and my mom and stepdad living on the property. I have these dreams, but for right now, it's 150,000 from one business, 150,000 from the other. So 300K. I found that anything over that, I just am trying to piss my money away on something. I've always been really bad with financial decisions as far as how is it going to serve me long term. I would like to get into investing. I would like to understand the market. I would like to understand getting into real estate, maybe on the corporate side, or is that what it's called? What do they call
investing?
Commercial? Thank you so much, Chris. So my goal is to be able to maybe buy some or develop some strip malls, have my business in one or two of the units, rent them all out. I feel like that would be more aligned with, I don't really want to deal with homeowners or renters in my houses. And I'm not interested in apartment buildings or duplexes or skyscrapers. I just want to have enough to you guys might laugh at me. If I could put $5 million in the bank at even a regular return, that's 200 something thousand in interest every year. That's kind of what I look at. I don't need to have $150 million. If I can make about 300 myself, maybe bonus myself out with some disbursements at the end of the year, have a paid off house, be able to go on vacations, be able to afford anything that I want as far as dinners, vacations, stuff for the kids, maybe private school. That's where I'm at. And I believe in generational wealth. That'd be cool. But at 39 years old, I really would love to have more of a debt-free lifestyle before jumping into that, because I understand that if something were to happen to me and our house is paid off, our vehicles are paid off, we have money in the bank that's collecting interest. I have some diversification with stocks and bonds and ETFs and stuff like that. My family's going to be fine. They're going to be okay. Right. My kid doesn't need a Ferrari. Right. But if I want to buy him a gently used Toyota Corolla, or we have a daughter now, but if we have a boy, we can figure that out. But I grew up in a very, we were upper lower class. My parents combined never made over $30,000 in my entire childhood. They got divorced when I was 14. My mom always worked 2 or 3 jobs. My dad was on disability because he broke his back when I was an infant. He was finishing up, I believe, police academy and about to become a law enforcement agent, and got rear-ended back in the days before the safety stuff was in place. And so he was a stay-at-home dad. Later in life, he was in martial arts. I'm not sure how that conflicted in a legal way with his disability checks, but that's neither here nor there. It's probably outside the statute of limitations. But that we were just fun. Like, I'm the oldest of three. I have two younger brothers. We would always be out on our bikes and playing in the yard and just ripping it up, and like all these free things to do. And so my goal is to be able to raise our children and teach them how to garden, teach them how to build. My grandfather was a master carpenter, 4 years right out of high school, from 18 to 21. I was a union carpenter in a wood window factory. I made custom windows and doors for multi-million-dollar houses. And just like, I love working with my hands. Like I started this off saying, I'm a builder. So being able to have some stuff built up, I'm not there quite yet because, some businesses, you dump money into them. Sometimes I hired way too many people when I thought that that's what business owners did. I had like 11 people on staff. They're all on salary. And it's just the fact that like we're doing well, but you become so much wiser when you make those new money decisions, and you go buy a car cash for like 150 grand. It's like, why did I do that exactly? Or you go buy, I've had like I'm not bragging about it. I have a very nice Tudor, Black Bay, Panda Chronos. That's like modest, but I've had Sky Dwellers and I've had GMTs and subs and like, oh, that's cool. I have money in the bank. Let's go piss it away. And that's not the life I live now, especially being a dad. And my wife eventually wants to be a stay-at-home mom, and we're talking about homeschooling possibly and moving to a different state, and all of that ties in with having security. And I think that growing up with my parents having so many credit cards that were maxed out to the gills, and my mom depending on a Christmas club account, is kind of like layaway for your kids. You put a little bit of money away every check, and then hopefully you have enough to buy them something decent. I don't want to live that life. And debt has always been a 4-letter word, quite literally and figuratively for me. And so in a roundabout way, in a very long-winded answer, I want to have everything paid off to where we have complete freedom, and an investment is a lot lower risk when everything else is taken care of.
I like that. I have a big background in the financial realm. I went to school for finance and then worked in corporate America and like asset wealth management for a while and things of that nature. So,
amazing.
It was a really good time. But transition into this career because, there's a lot of opportunity that exists out there. And one of the things that has fascinated me has been the concept of like recurring revenue and like monthly recurring revenue, right? And things of that nature. And so just out of curiosity, like in the space that you've been in, have you personally had any monthly recurring revenue offers? And if so, like how did that experience go for you?
So that's kind of a funny story. I launched a platform for musicians like a month before I decided I wanted to officially get out of working with musicians. So I launched a online community paid called Musician Hub at musicianhub.com. And it was 27 to 47. And at its peak, because I lost steam, because I was shifting to a different, focus point, we had about 85 to 90 members. It was a good time. I'm literally shutting it down at the end of this month. So we got like 15, 16 days. We were using a platform called Circle. I know a lot of people love School. A lot of people love, I don't know if a lot of people love Mighty Networks, but it exists. But I've tried them all. Circle was what I needed for where I was thinking I was going to go with it. It just never came to fruition. But, those people in that group are just freaking phenomenal individuals. I've done a lot of live calls in there and provided as much free included value into it. And in the, I don't know, about a year or so since we launched it, I have learned so much about the right way to do it, the wrong way to do it, and how with a monthly recurring revenue model, you can't take your eye off the ball. You have to show up no different than if they were a $15,000 client. You just don't give them as much direct access, but they need you. They want the energy. They want the perspective. They want the presence. It's like they're moving into a condo community because you told them to. And so they want to see you at the pool on occasion. They want to see you at the clubhouse. And so it's about the community that builds around that condo community. And you are front and center as kind of like the HOA president. You don't want to piss people off. What am I paying for? But you want to make sure that they're getting the value, and it's priced in a way that kind of pushes away the wrong people and brings in the right people. And with musicians, I found that 27 to 47 was kind of the sweet spot. We tried 97. We tried a little bit lower than 27. And I'm not talking about any one individual, but when it's too cheap, the people are a nightmare to work with. They're very, very needy. They're like, I pay you $7 a month. Why am I not getting a coaching call with you? I'm like, what am I doing wrong, Jesus? And then for 97, if you don't show up enough, it was kind of riding that balance point. But working with entrepreneurs, we have a very different perspective. You have a service like ClickFunnels, or if somebody uses Kajabi or High Level or whatever they use, a Circle, a School, it's all like $100, $300, $800, Active Campaign, $1,600. And so like a community for $100, even some of us for $500 a month is like peanuts compared to the average Joe who's maybe still in a W-2 and has a weird relationship with money. $100 a month is a lot of money for some people, a lot of money. And I respect that. But there's also people that 10,000 a month is not that much money for them in the grand scheme of things. It's a ton of money. 10 grand a month is a ton of money. Like Inner Circle with Russell's 50 grand a year. Like that's a ton of money. You have to be very intentional. You have to be very present. You can't just say, well, I don't have the time to go to the meeting. The flights are expensive. I'm not going to get to Boise. No. You go all in. You follow. I mean, you guys know this more than most. Follow through in general is the differentiating factor between those who make it and those who don't. Crash and burn. You got to keep following through. I don't want to eat chicken and rice and broccoli again, but I want the result. I'm going to follow through. I don't want to take all this time off of work to keep going to Hawaii or this and that. That sounded like very epic, but to be present and to make those memories with your family. I say that because during launches, everything else outside of that launch can feel like an annoying distraction. And then you have to knock yourself out of it and say, my friends, my family are not an annoying distraction. I'm doing this for them. So let's make sure that we stay present every day when we have dinner. I don't push my views on anybody, but I pray. I'm a Christian. Every day, part of our prayer goes, allow us to live a productive, appreciative, and present life. And thank you for the abundance of greatness that you bring into our lives. And so that's what I pray for. I want to be productive. I want to be present, and I need to be appreciative. So, that's where I'm at, man. It's easy to lose track of what the goal is. It's not just money. And with a monthly reoccurring revenue, it's such a great chamber to get new ideas and to build new relationships and to build trust and have an army that will then defend you if somebody's talking smack on an ad or in Reddit or something, because that's where the trolls hang out. But yeah, man, I am going to step back in to the monthly reoccurring with the new offers that we're rolling out. So under the umbrella of Attention at Scale, we have probably a $97 a month thing rolling out called the Content Blueprint, showing people how video marketing in general, social media, YouTube, it's not as focused as Attention at Scale. And then like I talked about the Laserpreneur thing, that'll probably be around $300 a month. And we're going to have open office hours. And that's going to be the main offer, and then maybe a high ticket down the line. But one hand washes the other, because I'll sell more systems. I'll bring more people into this community, and everybody will be winning. And that's really how to do it, in my opinion. I know Alex Hormozy has the school stuff with Sam Ovens, which is phenomenal. But I feel like there's a certain level of you need to bring value. You can't just gamify it, because then people are just going to be running through the gamification to try to get to those what are those milestones or those unlocks. I still haven't figured it out completely, but I feel like I'm on the right track. The linchpin model works, but just like webinars, just like high ticket, just like a signature course, some people are going to crush it. Some people, it just doesn't feel natural. Just like not everybody can do what you guys are doing. Not everybody can be an author. So you got to just trust what isn't for you versus what you're intimidated by, you know?
No, I agree with that. And it's easy, like you said, to get into spaces that you aren't comfortable that don't work. And you can just tell it don't work when you watch somebody. And I love the podcast space. I just enjoy the interview style. I mean, that's something I naturally, John enjoys that. So for us, we really enjoy that. So we kind of stay focused on that. I guess getting in that realm, one of my favorite books, is 10X is easier than 2X. And it just talks about, one or two things you're really good at, your unique ability, or I call it secret sauce. What are kind of your secret sauce or unique abilities? Because I've heard you talk about several things, but what do you see as kind of your unique abilities or your secret sauce, Adam?
I have insane ideas that run through my head. Some of them are like completely inappropriate. Some of them are like really solid. It seems like every time I have a coaching call with a client, whether it's a musician, whether it's somebody in the entrepreneurial space, they're always like, "Man, there's always gold with it comes out of your mouth when I'm on these calls." And I have a hard time taking compliments usually, but I'm like, no, this is fun. I think having fun with the ideation process, and I am the type to just move on things, move on ideas, right? I own like 200 domain names, like 190 of them will probably never get used, and by me at least. I'm kind of a real estate investor when it comes to domain names, but when it comes to just sending it, I'm not afraid to look like an idiot because I've looked like an idiot for years, and I became successful because I wasn't afraid to look like an idiot. I also understand how to leverage relationships. And that's not just like with, John and I or Chris and I get close and then this is what I can get. But it's like, for example, I've been sponsored by Taco Bell, Call of Duty. I think it's Ubisoft or something. I've been sponsored by Adam Audio. I've been sponsored by Slate Digital, Dell, the computer manufacturer. Even after I told them I do not use Windows, I use Mac everything. They're like, no, you can use it for something, right? I'm like, yeah, sure. So they sent me, I think, $4,000 on like a $5,000 laptop. And it's the doing things with intention. My grandfather used to say, you can never buy back your character. You can never buy back your integrity. So when it comes to first impressions. So when I turn people away from a high ticket or turn people away from working with me because I'm like, you're not my person, you are not ready for it. That's what is one of my unfair advantages, especially with YouTube. I'll teach what I know needs to be taught. I'll tell people, look, I am not Jesus. I can't help everybody. I don't know everything. So I stay in my lane. But when it comes to a company, when it comes to a brand, when it comes to another entrepreneur, a client that I'm like just jazzed up about, I am completely authentic about how I promote that or how I talk about it. I'm not the guy, I know that Russell and Myron Gold, and they're like, you need more offers, you need more offers, you need more offers. I don't think making offers just to make offers is a good idea. It needs to come from a place of like confidence. I know how to do this. That's why I'm so excited to talk about YouTube. I got the little plaque, if you guys could see that. I mean, it's like 100,000 subscribers, but I have 300,000 now. I don't know if I'm going to hit 1 million, but I'm going to keep my wheels rolling. I'm going to keep running downhill, trying to help people with this massive machine that I've built over the years. And I think that being able to be very self-aware and being able to be self-deprecating and just your true authentic personality is the ultimate secret advantage, because there's times where I'm super cocky. There's times where I'm like really empathetic and nervous, and I'll be real with people. I'll be real with people about that. What else? I am a nerd when it comes to tech. So I've owned like 25 DSLRs and probably 50 lenses, and probably more than that, actually. I have so much crap in this room that you cannot see. And in the other room, I I nerd out about the new technologies. I nerd out about the new features. I'm not like a futurist where I'm like looking forward to Instagram changing everything tomorrow, but I am the type that I don't like being stagnant. I don't like feeling bored. My wife, when we're spending the weekends together, she'll look at me. She's like, "Are you bored?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "You always need to be moving." I'm like, "I need to be doing something, right?" I'm a busybody by nature. So this might be actually like an Achilles heel. I don't worry about spending too much time researching anything before I give it a try. I'm just like, podcasting, cool. So fun fact, back in the day, for a very short period of time, probably 6 months, as a music producer, I wanted a stage name. I didn't want to use my real name. So I was going by Bill Skills. Awful. I thought it was funny. So it was Bill Skills. And one of my best friends, his name's Zach. He goes by the name DJ DeVille. He's actually like an international touring DJ. He's worked with Tiesto and Diplo and Steve Aoki and Skrillex and stuff like. He's really doing it. We had a podcast in 2008 called Livin' Lavish with Skills and DeVille, where we were both living in the same area. We'd get on our mics and just sit in my home studio, which was at the foot of my bed. And we would just talk about like funny things, right? Like, I think we shot 3 or 4 episodes and then we're like, this is a lot of work. And he was moving. So we shut it down. I had one person at that time who had a podcast that said, "You're an idiot." He was a little bit more abrasive than that. "You are an idiot if you think you're ever going to make money with podcasting." And I let it discourage me. And I stopped podcasting. I've been told that about YouTube. "Oh, you're going to be the next," I'll just say Mr. Beast because everybody knows who that is. I'm not trying to be Mr. Beast. I tried that for 8 years. And then I'm like, there's something more to this. This is actually a tool. It's just all dependent on how I'm using it. I don't need to be 15 million subscribers doing funny, entertaining shows every day. I want to use it to empower people. I want to use it to get in front of people. I always say that you can't become a household name without getting your name in households. So it's like, that's what I use YouTube for. And my unfair advantage there is just send her, just try it. Right. And that's how I started with my education stuff. I was like, I had no intention of ever having any offers. I thought I would make money from sponsorships and YouTube views, enough to like supplement, maybe pay my car payment or something. And I stumbled into the world of other weirdos and crazy people like myself and people that came from a multitude of different backgrounds, usually not a lot of fun. And we are builders. We are the people that are kicking the can down the road for society. And people like Elon Musk, love him or hate him, he's a crazy builder and has been for his whole life. And so I'm not saying I'm the next Elon, but I'm not saying I'm not. No, I'm just kidding. But, with being, this is one thing. And I know you guys can relate to this. When you are so stubborn that you're like, I'm going to do this. I don't care if you get it. I'm going to keep doing it. Obviously, if it doesn't work and you're doing it for like 3 years, like make a shift. But that's the thing. You have to be a gardener. You have to be willing to plant the seeds. You have to be willing to understand the soil. You have to understand aggressive patience, like Andy Frisell is always talking about. And so that's one of my secret weapons because I grew up with nothing. We had more love in the household than resources. I'm not saying we struggled. My parents did a very good job of trying to shelter us or shield us from those afflictions they were going through. But like at 17, I was homeless. Like my dad moved in with his girlfriend. My mom had moved out. I was 16, 17 years old enough to figure it out. And my dad straight up told me, "Hey, I'm not going to name names here, but like my girlfriend, she has 2 bedrooms and she has 2 kids. And so my youngest brother moved in with them and I figured it out. I slept in my car. I crashed on couch after couch after couch. Finally rekindled the relationship with my mom. I was very mad at her because she left, but my dad was, there was reasons my mom left, and rekindled the relationship with her and moved into her basement, her unfinished cold ass basement. And, got on my feet again. That's the thing. We're going to get kicked down. the Ryan Holiday, the obstacle is the way, opened my eyes to the fact that there's no other like alternative realities. What is in front of you is what you have to deal with. So the obstacle is the way. And that's how I've kind of lived my life, and been kicked down and hit down a bunch of times, fallen down a ton of times. And you just keep getting back up and you laugh at yourself. You're like, oh, that kind of sucked. Okay, I'm not going to do it like that again. I don't get ultimately discouraged too often. Yeah, I think that you have to, I'll leave it with this, because I know this is like the most long-winded answer for something you asked me about 45 minutes ago. When you can see the vision with your eyes open, it's up to us to make sure that time catches up with the vision, because the vision is spiritually somewhere where you're already there. Time just has to catch up. But if you stop moving your feet, time will take you in a different direction. And so the way I see the vision is, I'm already living everything I told you that I want to do. I'm already there, but my actions today and tomorrow and the next day are what's going to deliver me to that reality. You can't explain to people what the color blue looks like. You have to show them. So just put in the work, keep your vision in your head. Don't have to share what you're going to do. And I'm thinking about this, and like, just put the rubber to the road and just keep moving forward.
That's awesome. And it's so true too. So I appreciate all of your insights and everything you provided today on this episode. This has been phenomenal, Adam.
It was fun, man.
Yeah, it's a good time. So if you could let everyone who's watching know where it is that they can find you and follow you and everything that you have going on, that'd be fantastic.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So my YouTube, first and foremost, I'm going to be rolling out all this awesome new content for entrepreneurs right now. A lot of it's still musician stuff, but there's still a lot of gold in there. I've had like a chiropractor in my high ticket. He's like, I know that I don't want anything to do with the music stuff. Just teach me everything else and I'll be fine with that. And he's like, I know that like part of your program will not apply to me, but anyway, it's awesome. So just Adam Ivy everywhere, just youtube.com/Adam Ivy, ADAMIVY, Instagram, Adam Ivy, attentionatscale.com. Eventually, we haven't launched it yet, but we're in a transition and it's a new season and I'm stepping into what I call my elevated calling. So I'm excited for the next chapter, and the best way to connect with me and just kind of get a vibe for who I am beyond this interview or this hangout session would just be check out my YouTube, check out my Instagram, connect with me. At that point, maybe I'll have something to offer you guys. But yeah, it's always been great time talking shop with you guys, and look forward to hopefully doing it again before too long.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Catch you later.
Appreciate it.